here you can see in this figure, this is the sternocleidomastoid muscle. Front of the sternocleidomastoid. Last time we have learned the anterior triangle, the boundaries of the anterior triangle, and different divisions and its content. Today we'll deal with the posterior triangle. So this is the posterior triangle which is placed just behind the sternocleidomastoid muscle. So this is the triangular space or depression which is present just behind the sternocleidomastoid muscle. So it has different boundaries like the anterior triangle. So what are these boundaries? The boundaries are anteriorly the posterior border of the sternocleidomastoid muscle, so in this figure you can see this will be the posterior border of the sternocleidomastoid muscle. Posteriorly, the anterior border of the trapezius, and the base is formed by the middle third of the clavicle. So you can see the base is formed by the middle third of the clavicle. The apex of this triangle, here you can see this is the apex where the two muscles join together over the superior nuchal line. So this is the sternocleidomastoid and the trapezius. So boundaries of this triangle, the posterior triangle, is formed by the sternocleidomastoid muscle anteriorly, that is the posterior border of sternocleidomastoid muscle. Posteriorly, the anterior border of the trapezius muscle. Base is formed by the middle third of the clavicle, and apex is formed by the joining of these two muscles, that is sternocleidomastoid and trapezius over the superior nuchal line. So these are the boundaries of the posterior triangle. Then the roof of this triangle. So every triangle, you know the boundaries, there are roof, there is floor and the content. So roof of this triangle is formed by the investing layer of the deep cervical fascia. So this investing layer of the deep cervical fascia, which extends from the sternocleidomastoid anteriorly to the trapezius muscle posteriorly. And the superficial fascia over the roof contain the platysma. Here you can see it contains the platysma, the external jugular vein, and the cutaneous nerves, the four cutaneous nerves. So superficial fascia which contain the platysma, external jugular vein, the cutaneous nerves and vessels. So what are the cutaneous nerves which are present in the roof of the triangle? So there are four cutaneous nerves which are the branches of the cervical plexus. Long back we have studied superior extremity, the brachial plexus. So here you can see the four cutaneous branches of cervical plexus. We'll see one by one. The lesser occipital nerve. Here you can see this is the lesser occipital nerve, which is emerges just posterior border of the sternocleidomastoid muscle. It runs upward and it will supply the posterior surface of the pinna as well as the posterior part of the scalp region. And the second nerve, that is the transverse cervical nerve, which is again emerged from the posterior border of the sternocleidomastoid muscle. It runs transversely along the over the sternocleidomastoid muscle, and it will supply the neck region, skin of the neck. Okay. The third nerve, this is the great auricular nerve. Great auricular nerve, which is the largest cutaneous nerve. It runs upward over the parotid region. Long back in the parotid gland, we have studied the French syndrome, where you can see this nerve which supplies the skin over the parotid gland. It is connected with the great auricular nerve, which connected with the fibers of the temporal nerve. Lastly, the supraclavicular nerve. That is, this is the supraclavicular nerve which emerges over the posterior border of the sternocleidomastoid, runs downward. It gives three branches. It divides into three branches. That is supraclavicular, that is lateral supraclavicular, middle supraclavicular, and medial supraclavicular. So medial supraclavicular nerve, which again supply the skin over the manubrium. Middle supraclavicular nerve, which sometimes pierces the clavicle, long black. Again, we have studied. This is one of the peculiarity of the clavicle, that it pierces the clavicle. Sometimes it pierces the clavicle by the middle supraclavicular nerves, and it will supply the skin and first intercostal space up to the second rib. Then lateral supraclavicular nerve. This branch will supply the skin over the upper part of the deltoid. So these are the nerves which are present in the roof. I again repeat all the four nerves. One is the lesser occipital nerve, which runs along the posterior border of the sternocleidomastoid muscle, which will supply the posterior surface of the pinna and the scalp. The second nerve, that is the great auricular nerve, which runs upward, ascend upward over the sternocleidomastoid and supply the skin over the parotid gland. It is in relation with the auriculotemporal nerve. That long back we have studied its relation with the auriculotemporal nerve, that is French syndrome. Then it supplies the skin over the parotid and the pinna. Then transverse cervical nerve. It is again emerges from the posterior border of the sternocleidomastoid muscle. It runs over the sternocleidomastoid muscle and it supplies the neck region. Lastly, the supraclavicular nerves, which descend in the triangle, and it is divided into three branches, that is lateral branch, middle branch, that is also called as intermediate branch, and medial branch. Medial branch will supply the manubrium region, the skin over the manubrium, or lateral supraclavicular nerves will supply the skin over the deltoid, upper part of the deltoid, and the middle supraclavicular nerve, which supply the skin over the first intercostal space up to the second rib. And sometimes this nerve pierces the clavicle. That is one of the peculiarity. And floor of this triangle. The floor of the posterior triangle is covered by the prevertebral fascia. It is covered by the prevertebral fascia. Before covering this prevertebral fascia, there are muscles which are present in the floor. So there are 4 muscles which are present and which are forming the floor of the posterior triangle, and which muscles which are covered by the prevertebral layer of the deep cervical fascia. So what are these muscles? Here in this figure you can see this is the sternocleidomastoid, this is the trapezius posteriorly, this is clavicle. So this is the posterior triangle, and these are the muscles present in the floor which are forming the floor of the posterior triangle. From above downward, there are splenius capitis. All the muscles which are attached to the skull, they are called as capitis. Mostly they are called as capitis. The splenius capitis, levator scapulae, scalenus medius, and lastly, just below the sternocleidomastoid, we will see the scalenus anterior. Some fibers of the scalenus anterior. Sometimes there semispinalis capitis, which also take part in the formation of the floor of the posterior triangle. So here you can see more superiorly towards the apex some fibers of the semispinalis capitis. After that, the splenius capitis, here you can see the horizontal running fibers. Then levator scapulae, then scalenus medius, and scalenus anterior. So these two muscles, you know, the scalenus anterior and medius, which are over the first rib. We have seen that. Then levator scapulae, we have seen over the scapula. So these are the muscles which forms the floor of the posterior triangle. This posterior triangle is subdivided into 2 triangles. As we have seen, the anterior triangle is divided by the anterior belly of digastric, posterior belly of digastric, and superior belly of omohyoid. Like that, the posterior triangle, which is divided by inferior belly of omohyoid. So here you can see, this is the inferior belly of omohyoid, which divides this posterior triangle into 2 triangles, upper larger occipital triangle and lower supraclavicular triangle. It is also called as subclavian triangle. The occipital triangle is called because the occipital artery is present at the apex of this triangle. And this is the supraclavicular or subclavian triangle. Supraclavicular because it is above the clavicle, and subclavian triangle, it is called as subclavian triangle because the subclavian vessels are the main content of this triangle. So I'll revise all the boundaries first. Okay, then we'll go to content. See, anteriorly, the posterior border of the sternocleidomastoid. Posteriorly, the anterior border of the trapezius, and base of this triangle is formed by the middle third of the clavicle. Apex of the triangle, it is formed by the joining of these two muscles, that is sternocleidomastoid and trapezius over the superior nuchal line. Roof of this triangle is formed by the investing layer of the deep cervical fascia. So this investing layer of deep cervical fascia which extends from the sternocleidomastoid anteriorly to the trapezius posteriorly. Superficial fascia in this region overlying the roof, mainly the skin. After that, the superficial fascia which contains the platysma, external jugular vein, and the cutaneous nerves and vessels. So, 4 cutaneous nerves we have studied. That is, these are the branches of the cervical plexus. In this figure, you can see branches of the cervical plexus. They are mainly related to the upper part of the posterior border of the sternocleidomastoid muscle, where you can see the transverse cervical nerve, greater auricular nerve, lesser occipital nerve, and supraclavicular nerve. The floor of this triangle is formed by the muscles which is covered by the prevertebral layer of the deep cervical fascia. Vertebral layer of the deep cervical fascia. So in this figure you can see all the muscles, that is from above downward. Some fibers, sometimes there will be the semispinalis capitis, then splenius capitis, then levator scapulae, then scalenus medius, and lastly below the sternocleidomastoid you will see the fibers of the scalenus anterior. So this is the posterior triangle, that is the boundaries, the floor and the roof. And divisions we have seen, it is divided into two triangles, the upper larger occipital triangle and lower smaller supraclavicular triangle or subclavian triangle. So we'll see for this triangle. First we'll see the occipital triangle. So what are the boundaries of the occipital triangle? You know, this is the occipital triangle. This is the inferior belly of omohyoid. So anteriorly you will see the posterior border of sternocleidomastoid. Posteriorly you will see the anterior border of the trapezius. Inferiorly you will see the inferior belly of the omohyoid. Apex again formed by the joining of its two muscles. So what are the content of this occipital triangle? This is again a schematic diagram showing the posterior triangle, its division and the content. So here you can see the posterior triangle. This is the inferior belly of omohyoid and these are the content that we will see one by one. Occipital triangle. Main content of the occipital triangle is the spinal root of accessory nerve, that is the 11th cranial nerve. So here you can see this is the spinal root of accessory nerve which runs from the middle of the just below the sternocleidomastoid. It pierces the sternocleidomastoid, runs downward, backward in the triangle and it goes just below the trapezius. So this is the 11th cranial nerve, the spinal accessory nerve, which is forming the main content of the occipital triangle. Then third and fourth cervical nerve is supplying the branches to the levator scapulae and trapezius muscle. You know, the levator scapulae is supplied by the dorsal scapula nerve as well as the third and fourth cervical nerve, the proprioceptive fibers. Again, the trapezius is also supplied by the third and fourth cervical nerve, that is proprioceptive fibers. Is also just run below this spinal accessory nerve. In this figure, you cannot appreciate. So third and fourth cervical nerve supplying branches to the levator scapulae and trapezius muscle. Then dorsal scapular nerve. Long back we have studied this nerve in the superior extremity, where you can see this is dorsal scapular nerve or nerve to rhomboides. So it will supply again the levator scapulae and the rhomboides muscle. Here you can see in this figure. Here you can see this is the dorsal scapular nerve, which will supply the levator scapulae. Also, it will supply the rhomboides muscle, which is one of the content of the occipital triangle. The four cutaneous nerve of the cervical plexus. Just we have seen the nerves which are forming roof, which are the content of the occipital triangle. Then they pierces the deep cervical fascia and they comes in the roof of the posterior triangle. So all this nerve you know, that is transverse cervical nerve. Here you can see this is the transverse cervical nerve, great auricular nerve, this is lesser occipital nerve, and supraclavicular nerve, which is divided into three branches. Then superficial transverse cervical artery. So you can see here the superficial transverse cervical artery and the occipital artery. Here at the apex of the triangle you can see the occipital artery and superior. Here you can see the superficial branch of the transverse cervical artery. Superficial branch of the transverse cervical artery. All these arteries we have seen long back in the scapular anastomosis. This is the figure where you can see here the external jugular vein, which is formed by the posterior external jugular vein, and here you can see it is formed by the posterior division of the retromandibular vein. We have studied long back. It is formed by the posterior division of the retromandibular vein. These are the tributaries forming the external jugular vein, which is drained into the subclavian vein. The second triangle we have seen. We revise this all content once again. The spinal root of the accessory nerve. We have seen here the spinal root of the accessory nerve. This is one of the main content which run over the levator scapulae muscle. Intersection, if you find this nerve which is running over the posterior triangle, you have to see over this nerve over the levator scapulae. Then third and fourth cervical nerve supplying the branches to the levator scapulae and the trapezius muscle. Dorsal scapular nerve which supplies the rhomboides as well as the levator scapulae. Then four cutaneous branches of the cervical plexus and superficial transverse cervical artery and the occipital artery. supraclavicular triangle. So here you see the supraclavicular triangle, this area. This is the supraclavicular or subclavian triangle. So the boundaries of this subclavian triangle anteriorly, posterior border of the sternocleidomastoid muscle. Superiorly it is bounded by the omohyoid, that is inferior balio-omohyoid, and inferiorly it is bounded by the middle third of the clavicle. So what are the content of this triangle? Supraclavicular triangle mainly contain the third part of the subclavian artery. So we have seen this. This is the subclavian artery, forming one of the main content of the triangle. Then the subclavian vein, if you can see the subclavian vein, and the nerve plexus. So what are these nerve plexus? These are the trunks of the brachial plexus. So we can see the terminal part of the external jugular vein with the three trunks of the brachial plexus. And the small nerves arises from it, that is dorsal scapular nerve, long thoracic nerve, dorsal scapular nerve. See here, this is dorsal scapular nerve which is supplying the rhomboids. It arises only from this trunk, that is C5. Then here you can see this is the nerve to subclavius. We supply the subclavius muscle. Then suprascapular nerve. This one is the suprascapular nerve. And the long thoracic nerve. Long thoracic nerve which will supply the serratus anterior muscle. Am I audible? Yes. Am I audible to you?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. So these are the branches from the trunk of the brachial plexus. That is the dorsal scapular nerve, long thoracic nerve. We have studied this in superior extremity, all the brachial plexus. The nerve to subclavius and supraclavicular nerve. So where you are seeing supraclavicular nerve, which will pierces the clavicle, which is one of the capillarity, that is middle supraclavicular nerve, sometimes pierces the clavicle. Then there are the branches of the subclavian artery. The branches are transverse cervical, suprascapular artery, and dorsal scapular arteries. So transverse cervical and suprascapular artery, these are branches of first part, and the dorsal scapular artery, these are branches from the third part of the subclavian artery. These branches also we have studied the scapular anastomosis. And lastly, the lymph nodes. So these are the content of the supraclavicular triangle. So this figure, if you draw and practice the diagram, you can easily write the content of both these triangles. So here you find the main content of the supraclavicular and subclavian triangle. Here you can see the subclavian artery, then subclavian vein, its tributaries, that is external jugular vein, you can see here. Then you will see the trunks of brachial plexus, lower trunk, middle trunk and upper trunk. From upper trunk, you see the nerve to subclavius and suprascapular nerve. That is the what you see, what you remember by seeing this upper trunk, that is Erb's point, where the 6 nerves meet together at the upper trunk. Then the dorsal scapular nerve, and there is also the nerve to serratus anterior. It is also called as nerve of Bell, which is not seen here, which is one of the contained. Then suprascapular artery, and also some part of the transverse cervical artery, which is also the content of the subclavian triangle. So if you see this figure, above this area, that is the spinal accessory nerve. This is the safe zone where the nerves and vessels are present. Okay, and below this spinal accessory nerve, this is the unsafe zone for the neck surgeries. So these are the content of the occipital triangle and the supraclavicular triangle. Various lymph nodes, they are also present in occipital triangle as well as the supraclavicular triangle. Mainly in supraclavicular triangle, the supraclavicular group of lymph nodes, which are also the main content of the supraclavicular triangle. The subclavian artery, we have seen, it enters behind the scalenus anterior muscle for the first rib. So if you remember the relations and the attachment of the first rib, you will see relation or the superior surface of the first rib, the subclavian vein, and just behind it the subclavian artery. So subclavian artery, it enters behind the scalenus anterior for the first rib. Subclavian vein, it enters in front of the scalenus anterior for the first rib. Then we see the external terminal part of the external jugular vein in the triangle, that it pierces the facial roof of the posterior triangle about 2.5 centimeter above the clavicle, and it terminates into the subclavian vein. Then the arteries, that is suprascapular artery, which we have studied during the scapula. There is suprascapular notch or the superior border of the scapula, and which will forming the foramen by a ligament. So the suprascapular artery which passes through that notch. It is also a branch of the thyrocervical trunk, and it takes part in the formation of the scapular anastomosis. It enters laterally and backward behind the clavicle to enter into the upper border of the scapula. Then dorsal scapular artery, it originates from the third part of the subclavian artery. And lastly, the occipital artery. Occipital artery, again we have studied this in the last lecture, that is, it is one of the branch from the external carotid artery. It is one of the branch from the external carotid artery. The lymph nodes. So there are deep cervical group of lymph nodes which are present in the posterior triangle, posterior border of the sternocleidomastoid, along the spinal accessory nerve, posterior border of the sternocleidomastoid. There are the chain of lymph nodes which are present for the posterior border of the sternocleidomastoid. Again, along the spinal accessory nerve, Along the spinal accessory nerve, again there will be a chain of lymph node which is present along the spinal accessory nerve. There are few lymph nodes which are present in the apical region of the triangle, which are also called as occipital group of lymph nodes. And a group of lymph nodes which are present over the supraclavicular part, it is called as the supraclavicular group of lymph nodes. Long back we have studied this group of lymph node, that is called as Virchow's group of lymph node during the mammary gland. So in the mammary gland we have studied in the carcinomas or malignancies of the mammary gland, there will be enlargement of the supraclavicular group of lymph node. So all the significant content of the posterior triangle, they are located deep to the prevertebral layer of the deep cervical fascia, with exception that is one major content, the spinal accessory nerve, which is located just beneath the root, which will be the main content of the posterior triangle. So the prevertebral layer of the deep cervical fascia, it is like a carpet over the all four muscles, the floor muscle, that is splenius capitis, levator scapulae, and scalenus medius, scalenus anterior. Over that prevertebral layer of the deep cervical fascia, it is like a carpet. We see few words about the spinal accessory nerve, which is the major content of the posterior triangle. This nerve comes in the posterior triangle by piercing the sternocleidomastoid muscle. That is the posterior border of the sternocleidomastoid muscle. The nerve then runs downward and laterally parallel to the fibers of the levator scapulae muscle and goes below the anterior border of the trapezius and supply the trapezius muscle. So in this figure you can see the spinal accessory nerve which is running over the levator scapulae muscle. It pierces the sternocleidomastoid muscle and it goes downward laterally and it disappears just below the trapezius muscle. So this is the one of the main content of the posterior triangle. We see now applied the clinical anatomy. That is the point. This point we have seen where the four cutaneous nerve, these are just present just posterior border of the sternocleidomastoid. Also there will be the spinal accessory nerve. Here you can see which is present is referred as the nerve point of the neck. In cervical plexus nerve block, the anesthetic agent is injected at the site. So here you can see this is the needle how it is injected at this point. Anesthetic agent is injected at the posterior border of the sternocleidomastoid where all these nerve plexus are present. All the four cutaneous nerve they are present. And the commonest swelling in the posterior triangle is due to the enlargement of the supraclavicular lymph node. We have studied long back the supraclavicular lymph node. It is also called as Virchow's group of lymph node, which will be enlarged in the carcinomas of the breast. Then malignancies of the testes. Then we have seen it in tuberculosis, it will enlarge. So this enlarged group of lymph node, in this figure you can appreciate the enlargement of the lymph node, the supraclavicular group of lymph node. So during blood dissection or the removal of this lymph node or biopsy of this lymph node, you have to take care of the spinal accessory nerve. which could be damaged for the posterior border of the sternocleidomastoid muscle. Then this is the cervical rib, which may be compress the second part of the subclavian artery. In such case, the blood supply to the upper limb, it is reached through the anastomosis around the scapula. So this is again studied in thorax, cervical rib, how the anastomosis in the scapula, which can provide the collateral circulation, keep the cervical rib, which may compress the second part of the subclavian artery. So during superior extremity, we have studied how this collateral circulation happens. Then lastly, the right external jugular vein, which is examined to assess the venous pressure, because the right atrial pressure is reflected in it due to the absence of the wall and it is straight. So in this figure, we can see how patient is inclined at 45 degree, and we have to see the external jugular pressure because there is no walls and it's straight course. So it will give the idea of the right atrial pressure. So it is called as the jugular venous pressure. So these are some applied. This is the dissected part of the posterior triangle where you can find out this is the posterior border of the sternocleidomastoid. This is anterior border of the trapezius. This is middle third of the clavicle, and these are the cutaneous nerve. This is the transverse cervical nerve. This is greater auricular nerve. This is lesser occipital nerve, and these are the supraclavicular nerve, which is divided into three branches, that is lateral, this is middle, and this is medial. This is a small video